Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. I really am grateful that you clicked on my video. I would really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed. Very helpful for me. Very helpful. But today, let's just get right into it. We are talking about books. Woohoo! Surprise. And we are going to talk about hard books. Books that are difficult that I want to read. And I saw a couple other people do these videos. I should have written down their names, but I will link them below in the description if you want to go watch them. And I was just really inspired to I guess look through my library and see which books that I find slightly daunting and that maybe I've been avoiding because they're a little intimidating. And just really bring them to the forefront of my mind and my attention, also your attention. So you hold me accountable so eventually I do read them. Oh, how embarrassing! My alarm! How true. I forgot I had buns in the oven. 1 second. Aren't they beautiful? I made Pascha. I still need to ice them and put sprinkles on, but yummy. There we go. I would burn everything I made if I did not put a timer on. Completely forgot that was in the oven. Okay, where were we? Oh yes, reading hard books. Someone's home. Someone's home. There was a slight interruption. My husband came home and was just walking around in the background. Oh, there he bikes away. But he's gone again. He's gone. So we can get back to important things over here. We're doing important things. Okay, I do not remember the last thing I said. Maybe that books are important. That hard books, reading hard books is important. Now, often this tag, I don't know if it's a tag, but these videos have a bracket at the end of the title that says, but you don't have to. And my question is, but do you have to read the other books and the other videos? No. You don't have to read anything. You don't have to do anything I tell you to do. But I just don't think that the hard books need a caveat. I think that I'm recommending them to you the same amount that I'm recommending to you the easy ones. Maybe even a little more. Maybe even a little more. Maybe they'll help you grow a little more, learn a little more, read a little better. I don't know. You need them both. You need them all. You need them all. But this video is mainly for me to remind myself of the hard books I want to read, remind myself that wanting to read them is not the same as actually reading them. Owning them is not the same as reading them. And since I am in my slow reading era, and by era, the time period that will encompass the rest of my life, ideally. It'll be a great time to dig in because I feel like sometimes when you're reading hard books, often hard books are also long books, and you tend to get maybe lost because you take too long of a break, or maybe a little bored, or maybe you just lose track of a few things. And I think close reading will help make reading these hard books maybe more enjoyable. Maybe I'll remember more of them. Hopefully I will. Hopefully I will. And make reading them worth it. You know, because if I just read it and I look at every page, but I don't remember anything that was on those pages I looked at, again, what's the point? What is the point? So, today, I'm going to show you these books. This is a long intro because I keep getting interrupted. But we're finally here. We arrived at the video. One more sip. Let me get my list. And let me show you the books. Let me show you the books that you're here to see. Okay, okay. Number 1, we have The Odyssey by Homer. This is a epic poem. For me, this is hard because it is in verse. And so it takes an extra bit of attention and focus to know what's going on. Again, I've been putting it off because, well, I don't know if I specifically have been putting it off, but there's just so many other books that I've read in front of it. And we gotta push this guy up the line. I think it'll just end up being a good story, and maybe once I start reading it, it won't seem hard at all. But sometimes your perception of a book is the thing that feels hard to overcome. And I have a theory that might be this, but I think also it might actually take some work to get through. So first one, Odyssey by Homer. There's also the Iliad, but I only own this one, so we're going to start with this one. We're going to start. Actually, they're not sequels of each other, are they? That's something I should look into. Maybe I will investigate that and see if I should read one of them first. But either way, this one's on the list. This is on the list. Okay. I think a little step right there. Okay. The next one. Oh, that was a big one. We have The Count of Monte Cristo by Dumas. Whoa. Famous, very well known novel. I think the hard part about this is that it is long. Maybe the storylines are confusing. I'm not sure. But it's very famous. I'm sure it's very good. And I really want to read it. Inspired by a real life wrongful imprisonment. What time period is this? 1844. Okay, so 19th century. Very manageable language, I think. Well, I guess it's translated contemporarily. So I'm sure it's very easy to read, honestly. Anyway. Sometimes you don't know why books are hard and they just look long and hard. Like, this is a story. But I'm sure there's really powerful ideas in it that I'll have to figure out and work through. But anyway, I feel like it's going to be hard. Just for the time commitment alone. Okay. And then just to really double down on that, what we're going to do after we read The Count of Monte Cristo is we're going to read The Count of Monte Cristo in French. I happen to have this in French and English. So like I really got to get to it. I think I bought these at a thrift store once. These guys are in 2 volumes, which are kind of light because they become manageable. I can easily read 2 books this size. Big books, I find them a lot hard to read because they're hard to take around. So I can only read them here and select other places where I feel like I could carry it, like it's worth carrying around all day. Like I read Samuel Richardson's Clarissa, which is just like humongous, and it took me so long, partly because it's humongous, but also partly because I couldn't carry it anywhere. So this is great and really helpful, also because it's in French, which my French is like decent, but it's not incredible, and it's mostly rusty. It's not a practice, and I want to get it back into practice. So I think if I read the English one first, I will have a clear idea of the story, and then it'll be a lot easier for me to go through the French version because I'll know what's happening. And then reading it twice will really cement the goodness in my mind. So, we got these guys. Okay. The next couple are ones that I do not own a copy of. Whatever, there's kids yelling in the stairwell. I don't care. The next 2 are a couple books I do not have, but it's a similar exercise that I want to do with The Count of Monte Cristo. Is I want to read first Les Mis in English, and then I want to read Les Miserables in French. So that is number 4 and 5. Les Mis in English, Les Mis in French. Again, very long. I know one of the reasons Les Mis is a hard book to read is because it's just famous for its digressions. It's historical digressions. And you kind of almost lose track of the story because you've just gone this long rabbit hole. And apparently he does that a lot. My mom read it and she said that sometimes she was like, we were just like trying to get through. But I love the musical a lot. And I want to read the actual book and see what I'm missing out on. And I want to read more French. So having 2 French books, like that part is also hard for me because French is not my first language. So reading in French makes it hard as well. Okay. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 6, the book that I own. And I've owned it for a long time. I asked for it for Christmas. And it is On the Origin of the Species by Darwin. And I have this fabulous edition. Look at her. She's beautiful, glittering. The top of the pages are yellow. Beautiful photos. And I think it would just be really interesting to read this book because so many of his ideas or even his name is just in common parlance. Like people just say things about him all the time. And I want to know what he actually said. Plus it's just kind of, I love reading books. I think this is 18th century, maybe early 19th. No, it's 19th century. 19th century. Okay. I love a good 19th century. I feel like it'll be a little bit of like a travel log. Maybe not. Maybe his other works are more travel log and maybe this is more theory. Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. I don't know what's in it. That's part of the reason it's hard for me to open. It just has always felt like it's going to be a big one. Plus, again, it's just going to be thick and heavy to carry around. Which I guess I'll just have to have a couple books on the go at a time. My portable book and my heavy stay-at-home book. Okay, the next book I also don't have a copy of, but I want to read the King James version of the Bible, which is the one, like the version that, like, if you don't read the Bible, it's probably what you've heard quoted. It's like the older English version. Not Old English, but older than what we currently speak. And it is often the version that is quoted by all of, like, the writers of the 18th, 19th, 20th centuries. And so from, like, a literary perspective, I would love to read the Bible. I've read the Bible in other translations. I've read it in the English Standard Version, and I've read it in the New International Version, but never in its entirety in the King James Version. And I think it's really interesting to read books in different, like, books that have been translated by different translators and read different translations and to see the differences. And I think I'm excited. One of the reasons I'm excited to read the King James is I think it's also a lot more, like, poetical. The language, I think, is a lot more beautiful. I also want to read it in a paperback because often, like, the Bibles I have are, like, I'll show you. You know what I'm saying? They're like this, where you have, like, the onion paper. And this, for me, this Bible just feels, like, really normal and familiar. And I kind of want to read a Bible as a paperback so that my mind thinks of it more as a book and less of, like, this text that I've read and known my whole life. So I want to read the KJV and I want to read it in, like, paperback. Anyway. Okay, number, what is this, 8? Yeah, number 8, we have Don Quixote by Cervantes. And this book is another novel, a very long novel, a Spanish novel. And I mainly want to read it because it's something that I've just heard about for as long as I can remember. People reference it in culture, in other books, and I want to know what's up. I think it's one of those books that has really shaped the world, and so I think that's important to investigate. I think it'll be hard, or I think it's hard probably because it's long, and I imagine it's not quite a page turner. I imagine books, like, it'll be a slow going novel. But I don't know much about what it's actually like. I only know that the title is really famous. Also, I'm going to go to Spain, I think, in the near future. So I also want to read this book because of that. Because it's a Spanish book. Anyway. Cervantes. Oh, okay. Boop. The next and the last two are a couple books that I do not have either. And they are both Russian novels. So I want to read Anna Karenina by Tolstoy. And I think I want to read War and Peace by Dostoevsky. I really want to get into Russian novels this year, and Russian novels are just known for being long and confusing, and that's it, long and confusing, I guess. Anna Karenina feels really intriguing to me. I think because I watched the movie with Keira Knightley in it, and I don't remember much about it. It was a long time ago, but I remember really liking it. We also have, like, the house I grew up in, we have a beautiful edition of Anna Karenina, and I was always drawn to it. So I've always wanted to read it, just never picked it up, and I want to pick it up. And then same with War and Peace. I feel like if I'm going to read Russian literature, I've got to read it at some point. And at some point, I mean at multiple points, because I think it's big. I think it's big. But, yeah. Mostly novels. Mostly novels. Mostly long, hard novels. Okay. There we go. There we go. Those are the 10 hard books that I want to read that I think are going to be good. So, I mean, you don't have to read them, but you don't have to read any book that I recommend. But I would like, I think you should read them. I think you should if you want. I want to start them right now, but I'm thinking of all the books I'm in the middle of that I need to finish first. And then I'll start one. I'm always torn about what book to start next. Always torn. Anyway, I really hope that some of these will be in future monthly read videos. And if you don't start seeing them pop up in the next 5 to 6 months or so, long term, holding me accountable, feel free to mention it in my comments kindly. Renee, haven't seen Monte-Cristo. Renee, haven't seen Les Miserables. Renee, I thought you were going to read hard books. I noticed you've only picked short contemporary novels. What are you doing? What are you doing? Let me know. Hold me accountable. That, I think, is it for today. Okay, even though I only have half of the books that are on this list of 10, look how big this stack is. It's so big. It's so big. It's a lot of pages. But one day I'll look at this stack and I'll have read it all, and it'll feel really good. Okay, maybe I'm gonna go read. What else do I have to do today? This has inspired me to want to read. So maybe I'll read for an hour before I do anything else or think of some other task I'm sure I have to get done. But thank you for being here. Please like, please subscribe. Come by, come back again. I'd love to see you again. And I hope that you can read today. Read a good book for me. Bye. Oh, I cannot come.